This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome to the world beyond. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, and we are broadcasting from the X-Zone Broadcast Network. For more information on the broadcast network, please visit www.xzbn.net. Today, our special guest is Bill Miller. Bill Miller is the founder of the Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators from Newburgh, Indiana, and he founded this particular group in 2000. He is also a member of the MESA Project, MESA, which stands for the Multi-Energy Sensor Array. And he has been doing paranormal investigations in a number of states in the Midwest, including Alabama, Delaware, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. His goal is that he will be able to collect the data that will help people understand hauntings, and he will work consistently to obtain real evidence of the existence of ghosts and strive to maintain a professional approach when presenting this evidence to his clients. So, hello there, Billy, and welcome to the show today. We're excited to have you with us.
Hello, Joe. Thank you, bud.
Absolutely. Billy and I just did an overnight stay at the McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. And we're going to be talking about that experience a little bit later. We had some really amazing experiences there. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Billy, what encouraged you to begin investigating the paranormal and collecting the evidence of same?
Well, I grew up in an old house in Midway, Indiana that was haunted. Saw my first apparition at age 9. And, just kind of lived with throughout my childhood, growing up. And then in 2000, I formed SIPI, which is Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators. And we've been doing it for the past 16 years. We've went everywhere. And so it was just kind of in my blood and something that I enjoy doing.
Before you started your own team, did you work with any other teams before that?
No, yes, I did. I take that back. I did. I worked with the Indiana Ghost Trackers for just a bit, and I got to meet them, and we done some things in Evansville, but it wasn't much. And then I formed the group, and been going ever since.
And how many people does your group have working for it now?
I think we got about 15 that's active, and another probably 10 that are members. They're not on the active list.
Right. We'll get into some of the equipment, some of the techniques that you're using a little bit later in the show. What kinds and how many of famous haunts around America have you been able to investigate?
Oh, let's see. Waverly Hills. Been there this last year. We've made 15 times of being there. Villisca, Iowa, the Axe Murder House. Fort Delaware, Peapatch Island. Eastern State Penitentiary. Willard Library in Evansville. It's one of the most talked about libraries in America.
Yes, it is.
WNIN, Channel 9, Willard Carpenter's old home. And that's just a few of the places I've been.
As far as client investigations, how many client investigations have you performed over the last 16 years?
Oh, Joe, it's I couldn't tell you that the number. We've done so many. Um, it's up there. There was one year we was doing, almost an investigation a night, and I would say it's up, into the thousands anyway.
Wow, that's pretty active.
Yeah,
Billy
yeah.
Billy Miller is our special guest today, and Billy is the founder of the Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators. You can visit his website at millerspooks.blogspot.com. That's millerspooks.blogspot.com, or you can email him at spookin2, that's spookin, spooken, numeral 2, at gmail.com. And as always, you can reach me by email at joe@reikichoice.com, joe@paranormalpeace.com, or you can visit my websites, reikichoice.com and paranormalpeace.com. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk more with Billy Miller about McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. Stick around, folks.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience Journey Trance, Power Animals, Helping Spirits, Sacred Space, and Life Purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
Welcome back to the World Beyond. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, and as always, we are here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. This hour, we're talking to Billy Miller, who is the founder of the Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators, and we just finished talking about the hundreds of investigations that Billy has performed over the years. Billy, whenever you're performing an investigation, what kind of equipment do you use to collect the evidence of ghosts and hauntings inside someone's house or property?
Well, Joe, we use several different things and techniques. We use tape recorders to record EVPs, video cameras, but we also use a computer-based system called Veneer. And what it does, we're able to hook up sensors. I use a light sensor, a temperature probe, motion detectors, and it feeds it back to a computer. So during the investigation, when we're set up, after the investigation's over, we can go back and look at it and see if there was any changes in the environment during that investigation, and if we have anything on video or audio to help, correlate those changes. Did we capture something on video at the time Veneer reacted, or did we get an EVP? Did the temperature change any? So, we're able to look at that now. And we use a 2-camera system. It's called a stereo camera system that's run on a magnetometer. So each time the Earth's magnetic field change anywhere from 2 to 8 milligauss, it takes 2 photos, and we look for anything in those photos as well.
That is pretty advanced kind of stuff there.
Yes, it is.
Now, whenever you collect things on this equipment and all these different pieces correlate together and they prove that there is something in space, what do you do with that evidence then?
Well, we archive all of our evidence. It's a continuous data collection. Everything, we save everything from every investigation, no matter whether we get anything or we do. So we can go back and we can look on, these investigations in the past to give to the client. Most of the time when we do an investigation for the client, it's, they're looking for answers. Am I crazy? We try to go in to reassure them that, that this kind of stuff happens all the time, and they're not crazy.
Whenever you're reassuring your clients that obviously that they're not crazy and that yes, ghosts really do exist and that they have some kind of a visitation in their home, um, are there different kinds of things that can inhabit a house with living people, or what kinds of things can you run into?
Well, we run into a lot that is residual. A residual haunt is just something that's like an old movie. It plays over and over and over again, and it never interacts. They see these things, they see these apparitions, and to them, it's real, but it's an actual. It's not. It's just. It's like I said. It's like a, an old film that plays over and over and over at the same time all the time. Where
Hmm.
your intelligent haunts, they move things, they try to interact, they try to tell you something, and then of course there's uh, the malevolent, the spirits that are upset and angry. They throw things, they move things, uh, and then of course every now and then you'll run into one, and I haven't yet, and I probably won't, but then you'll run into one that's demonic, to
Hmm.
where something has come in that that's not of this earth.
What do you do about these angry spirits that are causing problems and throwing things around and really going out of the way to scare people? What can be done about that?
Well, that's where someone like you come in. Where we
Yes.
come in and they bless the house. Uh, it's according to what the client wants. If they're so inclined, they can have a minister come in, or like you come in and smudge and take care of it that way. So it's
Yes.
really left up to the client, how they want to handle it. But usually it's handled in a way where things are quieted down and it doesn't bother them anymore.
Perfect. So, how has technology changed over the years from when you just started to where we are now in the collection of evidence?
Oh my lands! Let's see. When they first started, they had 35 millimeter cameras, uh, the old flash bulbs, the tape recorders were reel to reel. Um, and a good example of the early stuff. If you ever watched The Changeling with George C. Scott, where he
Seen it.
uses a reel to reel,
Yes.
and he collects the EVP that way, to where now it's all digital. You can record up to like 28 hours on one uh, um, clip, so it's just advanced so far. You got digital cameras, you got digital video cameras now. So yeah, it's advanced a lot.
That is incredible. So, dealing with some of these hauntings and dealing with angry spirits or people who are just coming back to visit temporarily, what in your opinion, what do you think really happens to us when we die?
Oh, there's that. I don't know. I could not answer that. That's what you know. Uh, if you read the top of my blog, Harry Price quoted, we don't know where we go, how we get there, or anything. We just don't. So I really couldn't answer that, and I still, I'm still searching on why they come back.
Hmm. So, if we don't know where we go when we die, do we at least have an idea of why some spirits stick around? And the ones that do stick around, do we have any idea why some of them are benevolent and some of them are just downright nasty?
Yeah, on some, they stick around for a reason. Maybe they have to something to tell them. Uh, you know, uh, Maybe it's like unfinished business to them, and they can't leave until it's done. And then for the ones that are malevolent and just nasty, I feel if you was nasty in life, if you went out your door every day and you kicked your neighbor's dog and you cussed your neighbors and you carried on, you just wasn't a good person. That's where you're going to be in the afterlife.
I have also run into that in some of my investigations too. Precisely exactly that. People who were really, really nasty in life, uh, usually they stay that way after they've dropped the mortal coil and traveled on to the other undiscovered country.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly.
So, what came about some of these mean spirits that are here and they're causing problems, or maybe they just haven't realized that their house has been sold 3 or 4 times, and there's a new people living there, and they're just lashing out at what they think is an invader on their property. What do we do with those kinds of spirits?
That's where, like I say again, you come in and you cross them over. You let them know that it's all right. That and a lot of it, it goes with people moving in. They go to renovate, and they still think it's their home. And it is. It's just like you said. It's an invasion to them. They don't know. So you have to put them at peace, or cross them.
You and I have done a number of investigations together, and earlier this year, you and I went down to Waverly Hills and did an overnight investigation there.
Yes, we
Have
did.
you worked with any other psychic mediums besides myself over the years?
A couple, but I would rather not mention their name.
I understand that. I can get that. Did they go about business about the same way that that's what I'm on scene?
You have to come back on that, Joe. I couldn't hear you.
I said, whenever you've worked with other psychic mediums, do they go about their procedures or their protocol and the way that they deal with spirits in about the same way that I have whenever I've worked with you?
No, actually, they was a little different. They were. I think you're more thorough than what they were. I've seen, how they did things and what they did, and I've seen you, and you went to 3 homes, and all 3 of these homes they are still fine. They're having no problems at all. Where they were calling me on almost a nightly basis. At one point, the one woman was, begging for help, and I just couldn't get to her at the time. We was just so booked. But now, they're at peace. Everything's fine. Their families are fine. The last one we did together, I talked to her not too long ago, and I said, "How's everything going?" She said, "It's going good." So,
Well, that's a heck of a compliment. I appreciate that.
yeah,
I've always said that I use my abilities and my talents and my skills to the best of my ability, so that way I can bring peace to the living and to those who have crossed. And if I don't help educate people as to what's happening in their house and try to establish a little bit of understanding and some peace on both sides of the veil, then I'm not doing my job effectively. So I
yeah.
thank you for that compliment.
Yeah, well, they've talked highly of you. They appreciated what you did, and they're still to this day problem free.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, what has been what have been some of your most harrowing experiences while investigating hauntings?
Oh my lands! Uh, One of the first ones was it was back in 2001. We were at Waverly Hills, about 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was a Louisville state trooper with us, and a friend of mine, George Hall, and they decided they wanted to walk down the Sorarium side of Waverly Hills, which is where they used to pull the patients out during the day and would let them get fresh air. And I opted to stay inside the one room where I could rest. And I leaned up against this window, which there was no glass in it, and it was in the hallway, and I could see down the hallway, and I'm standing there, and it was still moonlit. You could see down the halls pretty good, and I see this thing. I catch it out of the corner of my eye, and I look up, and it was a shadow person on the ceiling, and it was crawling towards me. And the minute I made eye contact with it, it stopped. And, that was pretty crazy. And, to describe something crawling down the ceiling or up on a ceiling in human form, it's kind of hard. But it stayed there for a few minutes. I moved, and then it was gone. So that was one of the craziest.
That is incredible. I've seen shadow people pretty well all of my life, and it takes some getting used to whenever you start seeing them all the time. But yeah, whenever you see something crawling out at you that you didn't expect or that you didn't see there just moments before, that is pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Our guest today is Billy Miller, who is the founder of Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators, and you can see his website at millerspooks.blogspot.com. That is millerspooks.blogspot.com. Or you can email him for more information at spooken2@gmail.com. That is spooken2@gmail.com. This is The World Beyond, and I'm your host, Joe Weech, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
It was a terrifying experience.
I thought we was going to go to jail for murder.
That day, we were a little behind, so we worked until it was starting to get dark.
We loaded up the equipment and hadn't driven very far when we caught glimmers of this glow coming through the trees. I urged Mike to hurry up and get up there.
Travis had the door open before we even stopped. As he got closer, I heard the sound.
One of the guys said, "You feel that?"
I really panicked then.
I told him, "Get the hell out of here."
It didn't come directly to me, it came to a deputy sheriff. Three of us volunteered right away to tell him what had happened.
Sheriff Gillespie definitely didn't believe it.
He says that we better be certain because we can get in a lot of trouble.
When we went to search the next day, they split us up, and the whole time the deputies asked me, if you just tell us where the body is, we can all go home and get this over with.
We're talking about 100 people combing through the wooded area. Nothing turns up.
All week long, I've been hearing they're going to set it up to make you guys look guilty.
We're a rough-looking bunch then. Some of us have been in trouble with the law before.
And y'all ain't never going to come out of that jailhouse.
We couldn't get out.
I tried to sneak out the back door the day of the polygraph test. I was scared to death.
On top of that, you have media.
I literally would be on two telephones at the same time.
We've even got some coops in here now that's coming in and out to see the freak show, as they call it.
Everyone descends.
I just wasn't going to stand there and listen to it anymore.
Granny says, "This is Travis. I'm back. I need help." When I did hear that he had been returned, it was almost as unbelievable as the original thing.
I just looked at my mom and says, "I told you we didn't kill him."
Travis Walton reappeared after several days with a bizarre story about a ride in an unidentified flying object.
People were desperate to explain it away.
Why are you sticking up for Travis for all this time? You know this really didn't happen.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you.
I hated Travis for a long time after this. My whole world just tore up.
But I believe every word Travis said about it. He's never lied to me about nothing.
It's a net negative. We lost our jobs in the immediate aftermath.
And now you're not able to talk about it with anyone because you know that they're going to laugh at you, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
But if you don't come out and tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
There's a degree of responsibility. Certainly I have to accept the bad. If I can direct what's happened in a way that I can make something good happen in the world, I'm looking for it.
Order your copy of Travis, The True Story of Travis Walton, today at www.traviswaltonthemovie.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back to the World Beyond. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, and we are always broadcasting from the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And our special guest today is Billy Miller, the founder of Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators, and his group has been in service to you and your needs since 2000. So for nearly 20 years, he has been collecting paranormal evidence and presenting it to his clients, and also going to famous haunts all around the region here in America and verifying some of the stories that people have been spreading about famous haunts all over the country. And he has basically done thousands of investigations all over the region. Welcome back, Billy.
There you go.
So we just had an opportunity over the past weekend to do an overnight investigation at McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. You've apparently been there a number of times before, is that right?
Yes, I have. I've been there, probably about 13, 14 times.
That is amazing. What prompted you to head over there to that location to begin with?
Well, I had first seen McPike. It was on a PBS series that had aired, and then I also seen it on a TV show where some news reporters went in and they captured a mist down the basement, down the wine cellar, and that got me interested. And then I contacted Sharon and told her I'd like to come over and check it out, and she told me I could. And that's how I met. That was back in 2001. And every chance I get, I go. And I think why now. It's a place to where there's activity going on. Almost on a regular basis there.
Oh, absolutely.
It never ceases to amaze me of what we hear, what we see, what we capture on EVP. When you and I were down in the basement this past weekend, the REM pod has a glow-in-the-dark top, and we watched it glow and disappear and glow and disappear, and there was no explanation for it. We stood out there for quite some time and watched it, and even went up to it, and there was nothing blocking it. There was just nothing there that could cause that.
Mm-hmm.
And we also heard the footsteps going across the floor when we were in the wine cellar. I actually captured that on EVP. I don't know how many people caught it, but I do know Joyce caught it. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting place to go to.
I found it really fascinating from a psychic medium standpoint that the things that I was feeling and experiencing were being backed up by other people in the room actually feeling and hearing some of the things that I was experiencing. And a little bit later, I'll tell a story about what happened when we did the blackout session down in the cellar with the other medium, Sandy. And that was really good piece of validation for me, because sometimes folks like myself just don't get the verification and validation that we need to prove that even we aren't crazy sometimes.
Right. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the history of the McPike Mansion and what kind of spirits are actually still on the property.
Well, it was Henry McPike's mansion. It's called Mount Lookout. Is where it sits. I think there's 6 acres of property on it. He had patented a grape and made wine. He was a mayor. He was the mayor of Alton. So he was a prominent man there in Alton. And
did you say he was the mayor of Alton?
Yes, at one time he was the mayor of Alton. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. And he helped the Lincoln Douglas debate down in Alton. He was in on that. So he was a well-to-do man. And of course, then after his family died, of course, the mansion went in despair, and vandals took over, stole all the fireplaces out of it. They had black marble fireplaces throughout the mansion. And literally just done a number on it. And then Sharon and George was lucky enough to get it. And, they've been restoring it ever since. And, if you can look at the photos of when I first started going there to the photos now, you can really see the change that they've made.
Well, I wish I had seen it back in those days. What kind of things have they been able to do to the site so far?
Well, they've got the roof done. They've got all the brick tuck pointed, and it's all sealed. They're getting the windows in so they can start on the flooring once they get the whole house sealed. And they've got they had to stabilize the house because it was literally falling in on itself.
Wow.
So they've got all that done, and with us going up there and doing what we done, it helps buy materials, helps pay for some of the costs that they incur throughout the year. So it's a good cause.
It's a shame that a building like that, first of all, has to fall into such disrepair over the years, but then its demise is accelerated by people who just have no regard for anything and would go into a place like that and just take anything valuable from it.
Right. Yeah. And as far as the spirits there, I actually believe it's the McPikes. I think it's Henry and them. For one reason, when you go to renovate a home, things act up, and
yes,
there it's just the opposite. They're fixing it up, and they're not having those problems. So I feel the spirits that are there are Henry and them.
Hmm. So why do you think that they're not acting up during renovations as would normally happen for someone fixing up their house?
Well, I think it's one Sharon and them and their attitude towards the house. They're not. She's trying to put it back just exactly the way it was when he owned it. They're not going in. They're not trying to do this and make it the way they just would to get it fixed up. They're trying to put it back to where it was when he owned it. So that's one of the reasons. And then two, they see that the house is being fixed up.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Oftentimes, when people want to try to change things about a house, the spirits that are still there will suddenly, decide that they don't like the changes that are going on, and may sometimes kind of act out in a place and cause some problems. And I think that's whenever folks like you and I get most of our phone calls, is whenever there's new floors being put down or a new bathroom being put in, and so
Right.
You also find that to be true.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's the case most of the time.
So, of all the times that you've been at McPike Mansion, is there one particular experience that stands out more than the rest, or have one experience or one piece of evidence been more prominent than some of the others?
Yeah, I was one of the lucky few that was able to go through the whole building before, they finally stopped it. And I was there, I can't remember what year it was, but we were there. And I was upstairs, I think I was on the second or third floor. But I had walked through a door, and the minute I stepped through, I got this cold sensation. It wasn't cold to the outside, but it was cold to the inside of me. It literally went through my whole body. And it left my body the same way. It left me from the feet all the way through my head until I was warm again. And it was right after that I smelled what smelled like fresh coffee brewing. It was in the room with me, and it lasted for just a few seconds, and it was gone. And I don't know if it was one of the spirits there, but yeah, it was something different. It's never happened since.
Has Sharon ever gone into the place solely for the purposes of trying to collect evidence or trying to investigate the spirits there, or has her focus been mostly on renovations?
A little both. Most of the time it's to fix it up. But they've done things. They've had things. They do their tours. They have their blackout sessions, and she's writing down this evidence that she's got. That's occurring while they're in the place.
Mm-hmm. So, how many family members do you think are still actually inhabiting this property?
Oh, I would say at least 2, maybe 3, and then you got a couple little kids that have been seen there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 2 or 3 adults, and then at least a couple kids. Actually, the shadow person that was captured on the blackout camera looks to be the size of a child.
Is that right?
Yep.
Now, did these spirits die as children in physical life?
Yeah, I believe so, because there are 3 crypts that were on the property, and they were child graves. They weren't adults. They were children.
Do we know how they died?
No, I don't.
Okay. So there's a estimated 2 children still inhabiting the property. Are they there by choice, or are they just unable to go to the light? Do we have any idea about how that's working for them?
No, I don't, Joe. I know people have seen them. They've interacted with them. There was another psychic medium there last year, that encountered them. So, I don't know if they're there on their own choice or if they just decided to stay there.
I saw them Saturday while we were there during the blackout session. So that was pretty interesting watching the because I also saw two children playing in the cellar, and it was kind of fun there.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that these spirits will ever leave this location and go on to their next place and find peace for themselves?
I see the only way that happening is maybe somebody crossing them over. I don't think they will. I think they found peace there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say.
Now, the story that I heard was that Henry McPike's first wife did not die on or near that property, but she's there now. Is that correct?
From the story I've heard, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I experienced her while we were in sessions down there. Really fascinating stuff. Folks, you're listening to The World Beyond, and I have a special guest today, Billy Miller, and we're talking about the McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. If you want to visit the website in order to schedule a tour or a blackout session, or if you want to make a donation that would go to the renovations of the mansion, please visit www.mcpikemansion.com. That's MCPIKE mansion.com. And you can always reach me at joe@RickyChoice.com or joe@ParanormalPeace.com. We'll be back in a few minutes. You're listening to The World Beyond on the X Zone Broadcast Network.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the World Beyond. I am your host, Joe Weigant, and we're always here at home on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Our special guest today is Billy Miller, who is the founder of the Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators and has been since he created the organization in the year 2000. And today we are talking about a special location that we had the opportunity to stay overnight in, which is McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois, which is just north of St. Louis. And we had a lot of really amazing experiences there, and we've been talking about this over the last hour. Billy, welcome back.
Thank you, Joe.
You know, I had a really unique experience I'm just going to share here for just a couple of minutes while we were in blackout session, and unfortunately you were outside doing some things during that time, but Sandy and I went in, and she wanted me to sit with her with the blackout session in order so that we could better kind of work with each other and find out what we were experiencing. And during the session, after the spirit of Henry had entered the space, one of the people in the session had asked Henry if or what was his favorite book. And Sandy picked up immediately on Mark Twain. And so we kind of zeroed in on that little piece of information for a little while. And Sandy, the other psychic medium, she yes, but Henry thinks that he's obnoxious. So we all got, kind of a kick out of that. And immediately I saw a red book. And I said, well, I'm seeing a red book, and it's kind of like a brick red, but it's got gold around the outside of the front cover of it. And she saw the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But with his, more famous works, some of the bigger novels that he had written, we both kind of got the feeling that it was a collection of smaller works, a collection of smaller writings, maybe even political writings or whatever. And so we both tried to focus in on this singular piece of information. And we both agreed that it was a red book about 1.5 inches thick with gold around the outside of the front cover, but the cover couldn't be red. The center of the cover was actually just blank. It was red. And we focused on this for quite a while. And after the session was over with, one of the other guests who was downstairs went to eBay and looked up old books by Mark. And lo and behold, there is an old red book that is sold around the outside of the front cover, and the middle of the front cover is blank. It is just brick red, and it is Mark Twain's book on a collection of writings. And we were both right on track with that. So that was just an amazing experience, both, and we really got a kick out of that. And actually, the person who found that book purchased it and will donate it to Pike Mansion, so that way whenever the mansion is renovated and restored to its former glory, that book will be in the house.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was amazing. It's nice whenever somebody like me can go into a place and have someone else also validate their experience.
Right. Yeah.
So the reason we were at McPike this past weekend was that you had organized raise money for the McPike renovations. How did you go about doing that? And how do you think that the end of the day turned out?
Well, we discussed it last year when I was there, just on the camp out. We camped like twice, maybe 3 times last year. And the last time I was there, I told Sharon, I said, we all have a meet and greet on the grounds. All for a free event, charge for booth space, and, charge for camping. Everything else, come listen to speakers, would be free. And, she said, well, yeah, well, let's do that. So, we got together and put a flyer together and started sending out the flyer. She went to the newspaper there in Alton. And, at the end of the day, I think we did pretty good. We had quite a few people come in and out through the day, listen to the guest speakers, and, we raised a little bit of money. Not a whole lot, but it's enough to help out. So I think at the end of the day, it was, pretty good. And so, we'll just have to go from there for this next year.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, are you planning on doing this again next year?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're going to do it again September 9th, 2017.
Great. How much will it cost if somebody were to join in?
Well, if you want to set up a booth space, it's $35. If you want to come and camp, and you go in and go into the wine cellar after the meet and greet's over, that's $35 a person. Food will be available, at the camp out at no extra charge. So, you roast weenies, do whatever you want, and no alcohol, of course. It's an alcohol-free event. Yeah, and coolers will be checked if you camp. So, it's a great place to come and camp and maybe experience something. I know I had some people from Evansville that came, and she actually got poked, and she saw something down in the basement that she could not explain. So, they were really satisfied.
Wonderful. Do you think you're going to keep it to just one a year, or do you think you might try to up this to once in the spring and once in the fall?
Well, that would be up to Sharon. The way it is now, we kick off our tour season, fall tour season, but we're all getting older, and it's just hard to do more than one. So I don't know. I'd have to leave that up to her. If she'd be willing, I'm game. So anything's possible.
Aside from people visiting the website and the meet and greet one, does she have any other fundraiser activities that she's using to try to raise money for renovations?
Yes, actually, they start their tour season. I think next weekend, or maybe it's this weekend. But they can go to the website, McPike's website, and all that tour information is on there, or they can find them on Facebook and find out all the information. But yeah, she offers tours, and you go in, you have the blackout sessions, and it helps raise money. So.
If somebody were wanting to book a tour and do a blackout session and they wanted to try to capture some evidence, what kind of things would you suggest that they bring along in order to, take home a little piece of McPike Mansion?
Well, I suggest
as far as
that,
evidence is concerned.
Right. Tape recorder, a video camera that has night shot capability, IR, something like that. Cameras is always good. The grounds as well as the house is haunted. We've seen things on the grounds as well as in the house. So, a good tape recorder, good camera, and good video camera, that would work good.
If somebody were to want to get into the field of paranormal investigations, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out and wants to try to go out there and collect evidence?
Do not watch TV shows.
I agree.
Period.
I
do not
agree.
watch period. Do not watch TV shows, because that's all it is. It's a show. It's for ratings, and that's it. I've seen too many groups imitate ghost hunters, ghost adventures. I've seen them all. And, it's just, you just can't do that. You just can't. So that's my advice to, I did, when Ghost Hunters was going in people's houses and coming out and saying, hey, look, your house isn't haunted after being in there 2 hours. I've been doing this for a long time, and I still can't do that. Just because something didn't happen while I was there doesn't mean it's not haunted.
Exactly.
So
what other advice do you have?
Be true. Don't fake evidence, no matter how bad, no matter how long it takes to get evidence. Don't fake it. It'll either come or it won't. But, if you're caught faking stuff in this field, that's it. You're ruined. You're never credible. You got to stay credible. You got to stay true to it. And, and investigate it like that.
In an effort not to imitate some of these shows who are doing maybe great science, perhaps, but some really bad interaction with clients, what advice would you give for someone who's wanting to collect evidence or to go and capture evidence of hauntings? How would you direct them to better enact with the people that they're dealing with, both living and dead?
Well, with the living, you got to respect the belief. You don't go in and you don't force your beliefs on them. And you always respect the dead. I don't care who they are.
Yes.
You always respect them. You don't taunt. I've seen people taunt, and you don't do that. So you got to respect the people you're working for. You got to respect their wishes. If they're an atheist, then you got to respect that. If they're Catholic, you got to respect it. And the same holds true with spirits. You got to respect them.
Perfect. Well, we have been talking to Billy Miller over the last hour, and this is The World Beyond. I'm your host, Joe Weigant. If you would like to book a tour through McPike Mansion or to donate toward the renovation efforts, please visit www.mcpikemansion.com. You can always reach Bill Miller at his email website, spooken2, which is SPOOKEN numeral 2 @gmail.com. And I can always be reached at joe@paranormalpeace.com or joe@reikichoice.com, REIKI choice.com. We thank you for visiting us today, and as always, we will talk again. Have a good one.